Entrepreneurship is freaking stressful. And I'm not just talking about the I really could do with a coffee kind of stress. I mean the really tight in the chest, racing thoughts, cannot switch off kind of stress. And somehow we've made this a badge of honor. I constantly hear people say, if you're not stressed enough, then you're not pushing yourself enough. And I just think
that's absolute bullshit.
And so I am going to review this book today, which is Unstressable by Mo Gawdat and Alice Law. And should this be a book that founders need to read? Well, stay with me. I'm going to tell you if it is. So Mo Gawdat is ex-Google, and he wrote this book called Soul for Happy, which you totally need to read. It's actually written under very sad circumstances, but basically he had this quest for happiness and he decided to research into what makes people happy and wrote his book called Soul for Happy. And obviously this is related to it. So in this book, he takes a practical swing at stress. Yes, we're gonna have stress, but how do we deal with the stress in a way that it doesn't just completely burn us out and make us lose the ability to function? Because let's face it, as a founder, stress is just baked into our job. This is just what's natural to happen. And so obviously we can't just wish stress away, that's not going to happen, but we can be well positioned to understand how to handle it and use stress to our advantage. So this book is not about how to eliminate stress, because let's face it, that's never going to happen. It's designed to help you stop letting stress ruin your decisions. So stress is not a bad thing, especially in moderation. I just think that that's what we're led to believe. And if you watch my other video on the 3 productivity laws that could be ruining your productivity in entrepreneurship, you'll hear I talk about a law where it talks about actually getting the right level of stress for you. So do check out that video, and I'll leave another link to it in the description, but it will explain that actually stress is a good thing in small doses. So what I really liked about this book is that it wasn't saying that you have to get rid of stress out your life, you have to do all these things and you'll live a stress-free life, which a lot of content creators do online. I feel like it portrays a really unrealistic picture of what's possible. But instead it shows you how to show up in different ways so that you can handle stress in the right way. And I believe there's 4 main takeaways that I took from this book. So number 1, stress isn't just pressure, it's actually how you respond to that pressure. So stress is often external, right? It's your deadlines, it's cash flow, it's clients, it's staff, it's anything that's causing pressure on you. Stress spikes when your perceived demands outrun your perceived capacity, i.e., you have more shit to do than you can handle. Essentially then you have 2 choices. You either reduce the demand or increase your capacity. And approaching this in this logical way should make it really simple and should make it much easier to manage. But the problem is, it's easier said than done, and we often let our emotions get in the way of making those sensible, logical decisions. So lesson number 2 is to control the controllables. So most founder stress actually come from the things that we can't control, such as like the algorithm, markets, our investors' moods and stuff like that. And I feel like I've been saying the phrase, focus on what you can control, like over and over again for the last few weeks, to my clients, to the founders I'm supporting, to my friends, and especially to myself. So this book reminds us that if we move our circle to the small little things that we can control, such as like priorities, boundaries, cadence, our recovery, then we're doing everything that we are able to do, and our stress will naturally reduce. So lesson number 3 is that recovery is a system, not a reward. So short bursts of pressure are absolutely fine, but chronic, unbroken pressure is not. So we must treat rest, like our sleep and even exercise and just like downtime, as complete non-negotiables, much like we would treat our finance or our ops side of our business. Now, I actually did a video on this recently and I called it like rest as a strategy, and I'll drop that link also in the description below, because actually learning how to schedule rest into my schedule as a non-negotiable has completely been a game changer, and it's seen me improve in every area of business as I've done this. But most people just see that if they work really, really, really hard, then you deserve to have that break. But actually, no, it should be the other way around. The break should be scheduled in order for you to perform at your best. So lesson number 4 is that stress is data. So what I really liked about this is that how Mo pointed out that stress isn't actually the enemy. It's basically just feedback. So when stress spikes, you have to listen to this mismatch between your gut telling you that your resources are not enough to handle the workload. So what do you do about it? Think of it like a dashboard warning light. When that happens when you're driving, do you just ignore it? No. Do you glorify it? No. You have to ask, what is that light pointing to? So maybe a pricing model is wrong, or maybe you're currently working with the wrong client, or maybe you're just overwhelmed in general. But whatever that's pointing to, actually analyze the data and fix it rather than just ignoring it and trying to push through. So I've decided to introduce a new section into my book reviews so that it includes an actionable piece of advice. So therefore, even if you don't read the book, you can actually gain something from watching this review. But my advice is to always go back and read the book thoroughly, because if you like the ideas that I've given you, then you can go back and reinforce them and actually make some notes and take some more takeaways from it. But I thought I'd give you 5 bits of little actionable advice that you can do today based on this book. So number 1 is I want you to do an audit. For those of you who watch my content, you know I absolutely love an audit. As I said, data is everything. And so obviously if you get the data, you can actually learn how to handle it. So I'd say that at the end of a week, write down the top 5 things that stressed you out. Don't overthink it, just write down what you think brought you the most stress. So I want you to look at those, and I want you to think, first of all, can I reduce the demand? So, for example, can you reduce the scope of the project? Can you increase the deadline a little bit? Or even if something simple as like, say if you've got a 2-hour meeting with your client or your team, can you reduce that to 45 minutes and just be more efficient in that meeting? So the second one is, can I increase my capacity? So naturally you're gonna think, can I increase my resources? So can you hire more people? Maybe you don't have the budget for that, but then can you streamline your processes, or can you automate something? For example, if you say are writing a client report and it takes 2 hours to do a client report, sometimes actually lots of client reports take an entire day to gather all the data, to do everything, to generate a report. Can you create a template that you can use over and over again that will reduce all that time, or learn how to automate some things that pushes out the data and you just need to format it? There are ways for you to streamline the process. So I'd say that when you're doing an audit, don't look at stress as a bad thing, but like Mo says, use it as data. Can you look at the data and can you work out how to identify what's stressing you and actually find ways to optimize it? So number 2 is to tighten your boundaries. And I'm smiling because this is the one that I am constantly having to work on. So it's not just boundaries in terms of other people asking you to do something and you're saying yes and you've got to learn to say no, which I absolutely need to do. But it's boundaries across everything. So even, for example, other people taking your time, sure. So it's like you schedule 30-minute meetings. Why not make them 25-minute meetings? What's that 5-minute going to do? It's just going to cut out the kind of small talk. So just make them 25-minute meetings, be more efficient, have a 5-minute break in between those bits. Easy. Why don't you schedule a window for you to check your email so you're not having it constantly notifying you all the time and distracting you from your work? So you can have it morning, lunchtime and afternoon. It doesn't have to just be like 10 minutes a day so you're not replying to people. That's plenty of time. Blocking out sessions of deep work too, because like I was saying, those distractions come in. You want to have deep work sessions. So that is your boundaries by putting your phone on do not disturb and having no one notify you. That is your session to say, I am busy during this time and I'm working on this because it's important. And muting Slack notifications, all that sort of stuff. That's what I mean by having boundaries. You won't realize how much time and energy you save by switching off your notifications at least part of the day. Please do try it, because for me, it's been amazing, and that's the only way I'm actually that productive, to be able to get stuff done. Other part of the boundaries, still working on. Number 3 is to fix one chronic trigger. You've done your audit. You probably can see there's one thing that constantly stresses you out, whether it's a client, whether it's a member of staff, whether it's a particular sort of thing that you do on a weekly basis. Find that one thing, fix that data, and just cut it out. If you still need that thing, then just change the process, renegotiate, don't tolerate it. Otherwise, you can cut it out, but otherwise you cannot be having that chronic stress show up over and over again. So number 4 is schedule recovery like revenue. Because you'd never fit in like invoicing or billing clients or doing that sort of work in between things when you think you've got time. There's no way you'd do that. You want revenue coming into your business. So why would you do it with sleep? So I would say book in rest, downtime, exercise, sleep, all the things that are good for you. Book that into your schedule just like you would book anything else. I know that everyone says put yourself first, but it's true. And I would say that that's what I would try and do at the beginning of the week, is to make sure you've put those priorities in your calendar, because there should be priorities before you fill it up with everyone else's priorities. I think this book is basically perfect for anyone who has normalised constant stress as a sign of success. And unfortunately, there is so much content out there that is geared to this narrative, so I don't blame you. I felt the same way, but it's totally great for you. And I'm not saying that this book is gonna magic away stress, but it will give you a bit of a system, an operating tool to kind of teach you how to manage your stress and not let it run your life. Whether you're a founder, an exec, or a creator, it's all worth your time. So the 3 books that I'm going to recommend are related to this. So the first one is the absolute classic Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Now, he kind of switches everything on its head and basically says that sleep is your performance drug. And so you fix this and everything else gets better. Totally love it, massively backed by science. Really great book. If you read it, I think it will really change your perspective on things. The second book is Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski. I got gifted this book because it's an absolute classic for anyone who's an overachiever. It basically gives you practical ways that you can complete the stress cycle so it doesn't get stuck in your body. So 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman is the last book I'm going to recommend. Very much like Cal Newport's kind of stuff on deep work and slow productivity. It's basically time management without the delusion. So do fewer, better tasks and accept trade-off, because success comes from when you stop thinking you can do it all. So stress isn't proof that you're working hard, it's proof that actually a system needs changing. And if this can help with that, then I definitely recommend reading it. I found it very useful. So tell me please, what's the one thing you're changing this week to make sure that you're reducing your stress? Comment below and I'll try to reply to as many as I can. But until then, I'll see you in the next video.